Baobab reinforces. It reinforces the energy. So when you look at the tree, the fruit hang down like rats, like possums by the tail. They got this long tail, and the pod that the baobab is in is furry. Like it's real fur on there. And they just like swinging. So you crack them open, and inside that you find this chalky fruit with all these fibers, and it has one of the highest amounts of ascorbate. And what you need ascorbate for? You need ascorbate in order to be a cofactor to iron to induce silica to provide the collagen matrix that allyl hydroxylase ends up turning into collagen, which becomes tissue, which becomes you, bones, all that. So one of the most expensive, the most expensive spice in the world is saffron. 1 pound of saffron is 100 racks.
Say it again. SAFFRON, saffron.
A pound of premium saffron is 100 racks, bro.
Wow. Okay, where is it?
It grows mainly like Iran, Pakistan. That's where most of it grows. Middle East, okay. And it's a flower called crocus, and it's like a lilac color, but it has these 3 red stigmas sticking out the center of it. And those little things that stick out the flower, there's only 3 of them that grow per flower. So they pick 3 of these little feather-looking things out of each flower. And in order to make a pound, I forget how many flowers they gotta pick, but because it's so meticulous, the process of harvesting it and the flavor and fragrance it gives you. If y'all wanna know about saffron, go see Ratatouille. Y'all might think it's a cartoon, one of the deepest movies that they've ever made, where a rat became a cook, but the key ingredient in that film was saffron. They was dropping it on there. And the reason why saffron is so important is because saffron has a carotenoid. So this right here is tonic water. Okay? Tonic water. Okay? This is a carbonated beverage that contains quinine in here. This is the same substance that is the basis of the drug that they're pushing right now to cure COVID-19. This is why Caucasians was able to take over the world, was because of the substance in this water right here. Because when they tried to penetrate tropical regions, they got burnt by the UV, they got murked by the mosquitoes, and every other issue that went on in them jungles. But it wasn't until they found this herb was they able to penetrate the jungles and the rainforests and the swamps to take control of the land. Now, an aromatic ring or a phenol has the ability to absorb light, hold light, and then fluoresce a light in response to it. So for instance, the visible spectrum goes from like 700 nanometers to like 300 nanometers. That's infrared to ultraviolet. These aromatic rings absorb ultraviolet light, and what happens is that ultraviolet light excites the electrons that make it up, which causes the electrons in this excited state to jump to an excited state, to a higher state. Now, after it jumps to that state, it drops back down. When it drops back down to its ground state, it emits light. I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna hit this light with UV. You can see that, right? That's a UV flashlight right there. See that purple, right? You see it, right, Rich?
Yes.
When I hit this water, this quinine is going to turn blue. Look at that.
Welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions. I'm with KT, the Arts Degree. Brother,
Yes.
welcome. Glad to have you here. We just wrapped up a segment. I wanted you to touch on, you just came from a trip.
Yes.
A lot of what we call African Americans don't travel that much.
No.
They don't visit nature that much.
No.
They're not familiar with the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, with a lot of nature in general.
No.
You know, a lot of what we call African Americans consider when we see people in the park, we like, that's a white thing. You know, going in the park, nature hunting and shit, sitting on the rock and shit like that. Fuck, want to sit on the rock, nigga.
I gotta go to
Get your
work.
ass up off the rock,
I
hugging
gotta
trees,
go to the
and
game.
hugging trees and tree hugging ass. You know what I'm saying?
I get it all. Oh God.
You know, we're entering this paradigm where we're expanding our mind, expanding our consciousness, and we're embracing things that traditionally we haven't been embracing.
Mm-hmm.
So you told me some interesting stories about St. Thomas, right?
St. Thomas, St. John, but most importantly, St. Croix.
Let me know. Let the family, myself and the family, know about some of these discoveries you made while you was just out there, and let us know what's going on.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So to bring everybody up to speed, St. Croix is where I was born. Okay, I was born in the United States, quote unquote, but not actually on the mainland. I was born in a territory which is called St. Croix. It is part of actually 4 islands. Most people think the Virgin Islands are 3 islands, St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix, but it's actually 4 islands. The 4th island is called, get this, y'all, Water Island. So we got St. Croix. Well, what does St. Croix mean? Well, St. Croix is Santa Cruz, and that's Holy Cross. Okay, we all know who St. Thomas is, twins, right? And then we got St. John. St. John, you know, that's all about physiology in the body. You know, that's what the St. John is about.
St. John the Divine.
Come on, Baptist. You know what I'm saying? So now they saying the 4th one is the Water Island. So you got St. John, then you got water, you know, and it's water everywhere. Now, Christopher Columbus comes through 1493, and he names this area Virgin Islands because of Ursula and the virgins. You know, this woman who was going to holler at some dude and brought 1,000 concubines with her. Like, she was coming with a bunch of women. And they ended up getting killed on the journey. So he named all of these scattered islands virgins. So it's not just 4 of them. It's like there's little islands everywhere. Like it's just a world where you live in the water. They're just not telling you that. And yeah, it's crazy. So you got all these islands, and I particularly was on St. Croix. So you would see St. John, and you would have St. Thomas over here, and then 40 miles south was St. Croix, and it's shaped like a foot. The waters in between St. Thomas and St. Croix are deeper than Mariana's Trench. Now, I wasn't aware of this until I went down there and I got to get with my people and find out what was really going on. But the depth of those waters in between those 2 islands are actually uncharted. They don't even know what the number is, you know? So the current in that area is high. It's like it's through the roof, and because of that, they don't even have boats to go from St. Croix to St. Thomas and St. John unless it's like a holiday or a special occasion where they bring a special boat in. Right now, they developing a boat. It sits above the water and it has like 4 giant like bananas on the bottom, and it's gonna like float. So the bananas are gonna absorb the current and stabilize the top as it moves forward over. They haven't released it yet, but right now there's no boats going over because this current is so strong. Now, why is this current strong? This current is strong so that St. Croix can be provided with a means of growing agricultural gold, because the land is so fertile and it's flat. It's ideal for growth. But just like as you look around yourself and your community and your family, you notice that there's nothing but valuable things around that are not being utilized. So you would think in going down to a location like that, that the people would be aware of the fact that they're in paradise, that they're in a location where the sun provides the UVB rays that you're usually denied of living in the north and living in the temperate regions. You see what I'm saying? It's providing your skin and your carbon with the necessary charge in order to propel your body in higher states of consciousness, because you don't have to be drained by the fact that your melanin is being sucked dry. Your body can focus on other things based on what is growing, the flora and fauna in your environment. You see? But what is happening is the people are getting distracted, and what they're focusing on is the life that we live here in the mainland. They want the American dream. They think that's what we live in here. We're actually going through the same process. It's just that we're tripping because we're out the environment, and they're tripping because they're being force-fed the environment that we're creating. And that environment is something that they want to succumb to, so they're focused on coming here, abandoning property. And if you look at the property in St. Croix, it's super valuable. Like, the prices are through the roof. You would think they talking about Park Avenue or Beverly Hills or beyond that in terms of the numbers. You personally would think if I went to some island I never heard of and I just wanted to get some land, that I could afford it, because they're quote unquote in the third world. So how do you live in a third world condition, but all the property around you is raised? Can you tell me that? Like usually in an impoverished neighborhood, property value drops, right? That's what I thought the game was. But what I'm telling you is they're living in a third world environment with property value that is that of a successful environment at the pinnacle of their resources, except they're not privy to the resources. You see, they just get work like slaves, just like we are getting work like slaves. So what is needed? The same thing that's needed here. We have to understand agriculture, because agriculture, we end up learning how to manage time. Didn't somebody just talk about time today and the now? Well, right now, if I can invest my time at all in my existence to the best of its abilities, I think the action would be me placing a seed in soil. On any level of thinking of that. Whether I'm thinking and I'm planting a seed in soil in my fertile mind, if I want to create a child and I'm planting my seed in soil to create a fertile mind, or if I'm literally taking a seed and putting in soil so I can fertilize that soil, and a plant can grow and a fruit can grow and I produce. That's why it's called produce. And then I don't have to grow everything. See, a seed gives you infinite possibilities to be able to grow anything you want, and an infinite supply of it. It is God. It's infinite. Seeds are infinite. They continue to yield more seed. Do you understand? Where does that even come from? You telling me 20 years of mangoes are embedded in the seed I hold in my hand? It will continuously grow indefinitely as long as the environment is conducive to it? Come on. It's just that easy. So we put the seed in the ground. Then we have to understand the weather. We have to understand the sky and the sun and the relation, the rain, the weather patterns. We start thinking about water more. If we think more about water, maybe we'll drink more water. Maybe we'll bring more water. You see what I'm saying? But we be in hot, dry situations because we are devoid of water in our body. We are dehydrated. So the water comes and it fertilizes the seed and the plants start to grow. Well, in St. Croix, the reason why it's so important to grow there is because the type of fruits that can grow in that soil. You see, we can farm anywhere, right, in the world. But what separates you from everybody else is what fruit can you produce? But we talking soursop? What? Annona moricata grows like what? Yeah, everybody who was able to pick up a nice little sea moss plus at the Valentine event got a very nice surprise in there. They got themselves soursop leaves picked out of St. Croix by me personally. You know? And what makes soursop leaves the necessary is the acetogenins. And what acetogenins do is they allow the body to recognize the abnormal growth of cells that you like to deem cancer from the normal cells that are constantly replicating in your body to substantiate growth. So if it can identify a marker, then you can reduce the chances of being able to destroy the healthy cells in your body, which normally happens through chemotherapy and the radiation poisoning. You see, this is what the soursop does. And it's congested with seeds. It's nothing but big black seeds, like they're carbonated. You know, they look like diamonds are inside. And anytime you have a fruit that has a sharp texture like that, those needles, those little pricks, see, those allow the plant to increase its surface area, which in turn is able to absorb more energy and electricity, making that fruit more powerful and more potent. So the flesh is necessary, the leaves are necessary, you know, the whole part, you know. And there's a family of the annonas. You see, you got Annona moricata, you know, you have Annona squamosa, Annona cherimoya, sugar apple, custard apple. You even got the rarest one on the island called the pond apple that grows by the ponds and the lakes. It's smooth like an avocado. Okay? You got a plant called stinky toe. Stinky toe, those stinky toes. On the foot, like for real, they got the stinky toe because it's a pod. It's a pod on the tree, and it drops down and it looks like the big toe. It looks like somebody's toe, but it looks stinky, you know. But what is it? It's the locust bean, which one of the greatest commodities on the earth. Anybody who buys ice cream, creamy this, creamy that, anything, look at the back. You'll see locust bean gum. Okay, locust bean gum. And in the Bible, this is what kept John the Baptist alive, was the locust. They thinking he was out there eating hopper from a Bug's Life. They thought he was eating grasshoppers. No, he was eating stinky toe. He was eating the locust. You see what I'm saying? You got all these beautiful plants that grow down there. And I personally had an opportunity of being able to go in the rainforest, okay? The rainforest, which was very, very special to me because my whole coming here had to do with a journey in the rainforest. When my mother moved down here, when Mama Pill moved back down here, you know, she was home and her cousin called her 2 a.m. talking about, I want to get some iron tonic. She was like, some iron what? She was like, some tonic, some iron tonic. It's a tonic that gives you iron. She was like, it's 2 a.m. You trying to get it now? She was like, yeah, we got to go get it. And it was a full moon. She go take her into the rainforest. They going round and round and round and round and round until they hear a loud laugh coming out the middle of the rainforest. Like, what? What was that? Sound like it was something that lived in the rainforest, like it wasn't even a person. So they go inside this little trailer, and Sabi in there, and he dropping one of his classes. He going in, and that's how they met. You know, so what people don't understand is that, you know, the whole thing that Sabi did was part of a movement. It was so many people that worked around him and worked with him and got inspired and affected by him and kept doing the work, obviously, you know. And the rainforest provided an opportunity for me to continue to further understand the herbs that he was speaking to the people about. He always said, this is not my information, this is our information. Herbs for the healing of the nations. See, no one even heard him. That's all we doing. A bunch of nations arguing around each other. Ideologies. No one want to get along. Okay, well, what's something we haven't tried yet? Well, herbs are for the healing of the nations. And understanding herbs allows you to focus on the agriculture and focus on health, focus on the body, focus on time, and stop getting caught up in emotions and egos and all this other stuff, because it's work that needs to be done. And the exact work that you do is going to be the work that provides a success factor. You see, if we focused on that. So herbs are for the healing of the nations. The herbs that I got to identify, and I was going to end with this, but I'm going to start off with it. This is the one that's going to blow everybody's mind. Listen. There is a herb, because I'm going to start off like anonymous first. I ain't going to tell y'all what it is first, but there is an herb that exists that 1 kilo of this herb will yield 20 kilowatts of electricity. Okay, so think about dope. You know, I know y'all don't know about herbs. Think about dope. What is a kilo, right? We know that is attached to currency. Okay, and what I'm saying, instead of the cocaine being used to get a bunch of bread, it actually equated to amount of energy that could power your home. Okay. So 1 kilo is 20 kilowatts and 2 kilos is 40 kilowatts. But what if you had 100 kilos or 1,000 kilos? And what reinforces this herb even more is the fact that the plant doesn't need seed in order to grow. And this is what I'm saying. It continuously regrows. So if I rip a piece of the leaf off, it'll root on its own. So I have like a leaf that has like 20 plants growing out the leaf. So you have a plant that provides electricity, and one of the plant's function when it's still a plant is to regenerate and replicate itself, so that I guess you'll never run out of energy. That's what you call regeneration. That's why this plant regenerates. Okay. I had an opportunity to learn about another cancer fighter that couple along with the soursop, and this one is called Congo root, Anamu in Brazil, you know. And this one, what fights the cancer is this tribenzyl sulfide up in it. Tribenzyl sulfide, what does that do? It's similar to the acetogenins in the soursop. And it smells like garlic, strong. They call it strongman bush. Strongman bush. I figured they called it that because when you take it, it make you strongman. No, it's strongman bush because you got to be a strong man to pull that bush up out the ground, because the damn roots go all the way down. It goes all the way down. And you got to use all that strength and all that power, you know, to get it up. So it's strongman bush. But the leaves help you orally. It helps you, the gums, gingivitis, you know what I'm saying? Serves so many functions, you know, testosterone, the zinc levels. That's another one that I got an opportunity to witness, to grow, to cultivate, to harvest, and to help. All right? So, huh? Oh no, Anamu, we going go there. Yeah. I mean, no, you want to say something? Go ahead and say it out. Say it real quick.
Oh my goodness! Shout out to brother Infundisi.
Come in the camera. Here we go. We got twins here.
I bet you.
Twins. Go ahead. Let the family know.
Well, shout out to Baobab, brother Infundisi. One of the first things that I learned from him in Kupagani was the basics of Kiswahili. And as far as my knowledge goes, Anamu in Kiswahili is I'm ready. So testosterone, I'm ready. You do the math.
There we go. Yes. So yeah, family's in the building. So Anamu. So for the women, okay? You know, I'm talking about strongman Bush, okay? Do I have something for the women? Of course I got something for the women. What do I have for the women? Well, I got a story, because women like stories. Women like stories, right? So I'm going to give the story. Okay, so I'm 11 years old, all right? And it's spring break. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking I'm going to be home, you know. But my Mama Pill, decides to take me to the Yucatan. You know, so before 2012 even hit, like I got a chance to go down there and check out, you know, everything around there, like what was popping. And specifically, she went down to Cancun. Now, we walking out one day and we just on a stroll. I don't even know where we was headed to. This tree just pops up around the corner. It's huge, it's beautiful. But what makes it so beautiful is the fact that it contains these flowers. It looked like flames, like the petals rose up and it was like orange and crimson and dots on there, and it was just reaching for the sky. And then it has the buds on it that of the flowers that haven't opened with it, so it really looks like a fire, like on your Pilot, because it's in a circle and everything. The buds are big, almost look like okra. So when we walked by, she was like, "Oh, I think Sabi told me these are the flowers that women used to douche with." And I'm 11. So I'm like, what you talking about right now? I'm trying to think of like school. I'm like, who douched me? Did I douche somebody? You know what I mean? What is a douche, yo? I said, I heard of a douche bag, but I don't even know what that All right, so she like, look, let me tell you what that is. She was like, that's when a woman cleans her area. You know what I'm saying? So she grabbed one of them and she squeezed it. And it shot a stream of water out the bud, like, 60 feet. Like, it was like, ching. I was like, she was like, yeah, it rises up. All the way up. Like, it goes up there. You know what I'm saying? And then when it goes all the way up, it ends up toning and cleansing and purifying, getting everything right. You know? So what does that even have to do with anything is the fact that when I just went back to St. Croix, I was coming from the beach, and earlier that day, I had a dream of that moment, of that time. Like I remembered it. It popped up for some reason. And when I was leaving from the beach, lo and behold, there's the tree. So I grabbed it and I squeezed it, boom. The next time I had that herb, I was around some elders talking about it. They didn't even know about that. They didn't know it did that. And they was like, thank you. So then I was like, wow. I just gave them information about their own plants, about their own herbs, and now they're going to go back to it. And that was the seed at work because it's infinite. You see what I'm saying? So it was a moment, you know what I mean? So that's called the African tulip, by the way. Spanthathea. Yeah, Spanthathea. I think that's what the name is, but African tulip. Beautiful flower. Google it, look it up, you know. But another herb. Oh man, yo. You got Ginger Thomas. Yeah? Ginger Thomas. Yeah. Ginger Thomas is not only one of the most powerful herbs, but it's actually the national flower of the Virgin Islands, period. Huh? So when I went down there, when mom called, you know what she asked me? She was like, yo, there's a flower down there called trumpet flower. You need to tell me about that trumpet flower. I didn't know what trumpet flower was, but I was reading about Ginger Thomas and I was looking for that. Come to find out, Ginger Thomas is trumpet flower. You know what I'm saying? You see how the seed worked? Now mama and when I was down there, and y'all can see this picture on my Instagram. Oh, KT the Arch Degree. KT the Arch Degree. That's my Instagram. Go on there. And I got a picture where I'm bent down looking at a tree. I swear to you, anybody who goes to St. Croix and I show you this tree, there's a woman in the tree. Yeah, y'all gonna think I'm crazy right now. They're like, KT tripping. He's just trying to get numbers. Look, there's a woman in the tree. The face is in there. You see her shoulder back, some of the breasts, and then she like go from the hard bark to the smooth bark. And if you don't believe me, there's a face, there's hair, and there's a barbed wire wrapped around her. I was like, okay, I would have believed everything else was fake till I seen the barbed wire wrapped around 3, 4, 5 times at the corner of the block. Plus, all the trees are not magnolia, what I'm talking about. Mahogany. All the trees are mahogany, and they have the verses of the Bible on the trees. No, on a wooden sign painted like spray paint, like graffiti, but it has the Bible verse and it's nailed to the tree all the way up and down the blocks. And at the corner, there's a woman in the tree with barbed wire around it. And everybody's just driving, going to work. You know? Magnolia is one of the greatest woods, by the way. And that thing that's just the tree down there. Like, it's everywhere. So, Ginger Thomas, yellow flower, leaves for diabetes. It's a diabetes tree.
You told me you was born there?
Yeah, I said that's what I started off with, right? I did. I went there. But I'll tell y'all again, I'm from there. And this is why it flowed the way it flowed, because I was coming home. I wasn't coming to visit. It wasn't a tour. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was coming to reconnect because our mother, she represents the generation that got removed, and our spiritual selves, like our ancestors, like forced her to get back so I could be born there and connect that thing. Because had it been another generation, we might have got too far gone. You see what I'm saying? Right. So I had to come back, you know, and everybody who received me down there made sure they told me that my timing was impeccable because I brought so many things back together. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Ginger Thomas. You know what I mean? You got St. Thomas and you got Annette Thomas. Of course, Lloyd Thomas, you know. Mm-hmm. So we got the aromatic herbs, French thyme. Yo, if you don't know how to cook and put some French thyme in it, it's going to just taste good because it gives it this smell and this flavor, and it is doubled as a tea for women to help with their menstruation. Relates it. Okay? And I met a woman tonight at the Valentine event, you know what I'm saying? And she's having a menstrual issue right now. That's all she need. You know what I'm saying? Some of that French thyme. They got the holy basil. See, y'all used to regular basil in the store. They got the holy basil. They got the long stalk with the real pretty purple flowers on it. Real fragrant. Powerful material inside of there that you could juice, you could make tea. They make bush tea from. Bush tea. Now, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we gonna do A. Dansonia digitata. Oh, A. Dansonia digitata. That's also known as Baobab. Ooh, the Baobab tree. I got to see 9. I saw 9 Baobab trees while I was down there, bruh. 9. Now I got to see 9 of them.
9 of them.
The whole time I found 9.
Avatar size?
Maybe about 6 of them was on some diesel and other ones coming up. I even got to see one in the flowering stage. Yeah. Yo, so Baobab tree, for those of you who don't know, just go ahead and check, back in the day, that Lion King, old Rafiki. And I've been breaking that whole Rafiki thing down with him being Tahuti and everything. And then they just announced that Donald Glover is going to end up being Simba with the live action boy. You see? Yeah, but they announced this after I kept talking about this Rafiki thing. So what make Rafiki so interesting is not only is he in the Baobab tree, but he got a staff with 2 balls on it. Those are calabash.
Yeah.
Now, those of you who get shea butter on the street, y'all see that calabash bowl? Where that bowl come from? That bowl is a plant. Nobody made that bowl in no lab or carved that bowl out. That grew on a tree. And what's inside of it is jelly. So you see Rafiki come and say, "Oh, it's Simba." And he starts shaking it and crack that boy and it spill out.
Yeah.
That's calabash. You see? And I got to see 3 or 4 of them trees as well. I got to see them on the tree. One had fallen and split. So I got to see the jelly inside. It was like the human tissue. It was all thick. And like you could like pull it out like fibers. Yeah, gooey. Like that was somebody's organs or something. And then you pull all that out and you dry it and you got a bowl. You got a mask. You got a something. You know what I mean? You use that as a container. They would design it and make faces on it and everything, But the Baobab on this island has a very interesting story, particularly the one in what is called the Grove. The Grove is a hood. Do y'all know what the hood is? The hood is the most gangster place in paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's paradise. It's beautiful. But cats got, like, machine guns and they going off on each other up in there. They ain't just popping.
Yeah.
Like, cats are throwing dynamite like Wile E. Coyote. Like on some Acme shit.
They took it there.
Yeah, they going there. Grenades and everything like that. But you look around and you're like, yo, why with all of this beauty and potential around? And I see the Baobab tree. I'm like, the Baobab reinforces. It reinforces the energy. And in reinforcing the energy, that means that if your thoughts are down here, it's going to keep you down here. Because you're keeping yourself down here. You're investing in the tree to keep you down there. Good and evil. Or tree of life. You see what I'm saying? So, when you look at the tree, the fruit hang down like rats, like possums, by the tail. They got this long tail, and the pod that the baobab is in is furry. Like it's real fur on there. Like I ain't never seen fur. You see kiwi, but I'm saying like fur, like animal fur, son. And they just like swinging. So you crack them open, and inside that you find this chalky fruit with all these fibers, and it has one of the highest amounts of ascorbate. And what you need ascorbate for? You need ascorbate in order to be a cofactor to iron to induce silica to provide the collagen matrix that allyl hydroxylase ends up turning into collagen, which becomes tissue, which becomes bones, all that. That's why when you go in the Caribbean, you see a large amount of ascorbate and you see a large amount of iron, because those two promote growth. You need growth. You're growing every day. Your body has to keep producing. You want your environment to produce. You see, it just keeps on just keeping on. So the Baobab tree, what makes it so important in St. Croix is the fact that it is the location where Queen Mary, Queen Matilda, Queen Bellybottom, and Queen Agnes okay, were captured and assassinated because of an uprising that occurred in 1878. These 4 women organized an island and a population of about like maybe 10 to 12,000. They say were slaves. You know, they always use that word slaves, you know, POW, whatever you want to call that. And took the island back. And they did this along with a brother named Moses, believe it or not, but better known as Budo. Budo. All right?
Moses was Christian name.
Budo.
Budo.
Budo. You know what I'm saying? That's them waters.
Mama name though.
Yeah. Budo. And that's Bud. And he spells it Budhoe, which is Bud Ho. So what is Bud Ho? Bud Ho is bud, flower. Ho is, ain't that what you, that's how you bring buds, right? And his whole thing was agriculture. They were too busy growing sugar cane. So the 4 women burnt all the sugar cane, lit it up. Everybody tore the island down. They brought it to whoever was thinking he was in charge at the time and told him they were done. He was done. And he packed up and he left. He didn't fight. He rolled out. You know, and then what happened was after that, the women ended up getting, after everybody stabilized as what is as you would think it would be, no. What ended up happening was they ended up capturing the women. They were burnt alive at the tree, and Budo got sent off. You know? So all these herbs, all these plants, okay, or a byproduct of agriculture. And agriculture, we talk about culture, we forget the agra part of it. It's the same thing, you know, because that brings a community together. Like, you want to come together? Let's come together on some land together. We all got money to support each other and be part of a community. Then why don't we put our money into land? And then once we put our money into land, then we decide to meet on the land. And then what do we meet on the land? We start to manage time on the land. By doing what with the land? By using the land. And then in using the land, I plant in the land. I grow me a plant and I start producing. You see, and what I produce, I exchange with my brethren that's standing around me on the land, you know, and the woman and the child. You see, all of us together, we are giving each other produce. We are producing for each other. You see, okay, I got me some sauerkraut. I got me some soursop. I got me some sugar apples. You know what I'm saying? What you got? Oh, I got me some peas. I got me some chickpeas, some chana. I got me some quinoa. Everybody's growing something. And that gets exported and that gets traded, and we continue to make our money. It will bring us together. So I wanted to share that story. I wanted to give the people just a piece of my journey and what I just experienced. I will be coming out with a DVD very soon of my time down there. I got a lot of footage, and I will be making a real big announcement this week in regards to what else I have going on in St. Croix. So stay tuned at kttheartsdegree.com, KT the Arts Degree, Instagram, YouTube, and Kamani Tate on Facebook. All right. And I will continue to bring to you the update on the Get Out Decoded date. Okay. All right. As well as my wonderful DVD about St. Croix. Yeah.
And I just wanted to correct myself for educational purposes. Anamu is actually Are You Ready? Tahari being I Am Ready, just to correct myself. Peace, family.
What I want to talk to you about is viruses, all right? So KT, so we got a virus. They say the virus comes from outside. We have something called an immune system. What exactly is going on when some shit hits your body? What inside you is trying to protect you? We hear the word immune system, but that's a very vague, broad word.
Sure.
What exactly is protecting us inside from danger?
So you got an innate immune system and you have an acquired immune system. Your immune system is split up into like two different sections. And if you listen to it, innate and acquired, one deals with like who's on the front line, and then something that kind of develops or acquires its powers as it goes along based on whatever you're dealing with. When you're dealing with viruses, though, I try to urge this as much as I can. We can't get so caught up in the boogeyman aspect of what's in our environment coming into us that we contract. It's really more of what we induce within. Like how you say you're going to go inside, you keep saying inner space.
Right.
Well, Sabi used to always say this. This is one of his most famous sayings. He would say, if somebody lays in a bed for a month and doesn't move, they get bed sores. When you roll them over and look at those bed sores, there'll be worms in there. Where them worms came from, where that disease comes from. The disease comes from within inside ourselves, because remember, if you have a plastic cup and if you have a banana, if you throw that plastic cup down on the ground, they say you littering. If you throw that banana down, they say you composting. Why do they say that? Because the banana has the ability to do what? It has the ability to break down and get back into soil. While the paper cup, or rather the plastic cup, doesn't have the ability to break down. So when it comes to an organism or a human body, organisms, period, we have a particular structure that allows it to break down and to decompose when it's no longer serving a particular purpose. Meaning everything we need to decompose is already inside of us. So disease is the start of decomposition. Disease is the start of returning you back to the earth in which you came, because we inhabit this spacesuit. We come from somewhere else. Our mother and our father provide the materials in order to build around it, but we're already here. So when we are not giving our body the things we need, when we're not taking care of our system like we need to, it starts to break down. So we're known as a hollow bion. Hollow, B-I-O-N-T, hollow bion, meaning we're a collection of not only the eukaryotic animal cells, but we're fungi, we're bacteria, we're viruses as well. Our bacteria outnumber our regular nucleic cells 10-1. Viruses outnumber the bacteria 10-1. They're all working inside of you. So what happens is when you deal with an acidic situation where your body becomes acidic, and it becomes acidic through diet, it becomes acidic through environment, it becomes acidic through the frequencies that we've been talking about, that is what motivates the microbes to go through pleomorphism, meaning that they're able to transform from one state to another state to another state, reflecting the stimulus that they're in, which would be acidity or the type of environment that they're in. So viruses, they haven't even isolated them yet to prove their existence. All the pictures that they have of viruses are really something called exosomes, which are vesicles inside our body that contain RNA messenger strands that are actually getting sent from one location of the body to another, whether it being a pathological messenger or it being something that will benefit our body. The difference is based on the environment. So we create the viruses, we create the bacteria, we create the infections based upon the environment that we in. That's why I keep reiterating 5G, because 5G does that to your body. It provides the environment to create an anaerobic situation, meaning that your body is no longer utilizing oxygen. And when you're not utilizing oxygen, you become anaerobic. Anaerobic utilizes lactic acid. Lactic acid creates acidity. Acidity drops pH, no oxygen. So other things start to manifest because now the body gets a signal, yo, everything is acidic. Everything's breaking down. There's no oxygen. If there's no oxygen, there's no life. Hey, we can thrive now. So when they thrive, you start to decompose. So viral infections are induced. These are situations where people have compromised immune systems. And then through, of course, you eat animals, you get worms in you, you get bacteria in you, you get all types of stuff in you. But when you get hit with the frequency, when you're not taking care of your body and not taking care of your immune system, then everything runs rapid. So you asked about immune system. So you have macrophages. Macrophages are these, they're like octopus. They're these big cells and they have all these appendages that can come out of them. However, normally they're asleep. Normally they're chill. They're not doing anything. But when there is a pathological situation in the body, an imbalance that takes place, they get activated. How do they get activated? They get activated from your vitamin D protein. Once again, here comes the sun. So vitamin D has a vitamin D protein that transfers it throughout the body. That vitamin D protein has a trisaccharide. It has 3 sugars attached on it. Okay, sialic acid, galactose, and then N-acetylgalactosamine. Now, you remove the sialic acid, you remove the galactose, and you leave that last sugar on there. Now the vitamin D protein with that 1 sugar becomes a key. That key fits into a macrophage, turns it, it's up, it's awake now. It starts to patrol. Now, what is it looking for? It's looking for mechanisms that have a flag on it. That flag is called an antigen. And an antigen ain't nothing but some type of piece of a viral body, a bacteria, some type of agent that's not good for you. Your body puts that piece on it so that the macrophages can identify, oh man, this mug right here is not good for the body. Let me eat it up. So it performs something called phagocytosis. It takes its tentacles, it's like an octopus, wraps around it.
Phago, what?
Phago, because it's a macrophage. Macro means large. Phage means to eat. So it means it's a cell that consumes. So phagocytosis, phago means to eat. Cyto means cell. So it's cell eating, the consumption of cells. So when you think about lupus, when you think about multiple sclerosis, those are called what? Autoimmune diseases, where your immune system, quote unquote, is turning on you because your healthy cells are getting flagged as being foreign. Yes, because of the way you're eating. And because of the state the cell is in, they get flagged. So then the macrophages start eating your cells, your healthy cells.
The healthy cells.
That's right.
So what was something that was good for you is now turning against you.
That's right. Now, if I could back up, when I was talking about the vitamin D protein that has those 3 sugars on it, the sialic acid, as well as the galactose sugar that gets taken off, they're removed by 2 of your other immune cells, which are called B cells and T cells. All right. The B and the T cells are part of your immune system too. Your immune system is immense. Like we can actually talk for the next 4 hours. I could spend 2-3 hours on innate immunity, 2-3 hours on acquired immunity. It's that intricate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep it real simple, as simple as I can right now. But that B cell and that T cell, those are the ones that are responsible for cleaving those sugars and turning this vitamin D protein into a key to activate your macrophages. You're only going to have this vitamin D protein if you're doing what? Formulating vitamin D. You're only going to formulate vitamin D if you're out at the sun during vitamin D hours getting ultraviolet B radiation. So that's how the sun equates to immunity. That's one of the connections right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does the microbiome tie into immunity? When you look at the different groups of people, you got phenotypes, right? You got Congoloid phenotype, Caucasoid phenotype, Mongoloid phenotype. That's white, that's Asian, that's black, right?
Mm-hmm.
These phenotypes are different because of their genetic makeup, which causes their body to metabolize and have certain features. Because Caucasians, they have the ability to be in extreme cold. They're able to express uncoupled protein 1, UCP1, which allows them to go in cold water and cold environments, and their mitochondria uncouple where they can end up making heat. So that's why they could jump in cold water with Speedos on and we looking like, yo, how they doing that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got mongoloids that can eat a whole lot of tofu.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't nobody turning into no woman, ain't nobody having digestive problems or nothing, because they can do that. And we have our abilities as well. Those are all the phenotypes. But when you go inside their gut, that's when you find a real difference. So inside the gut, you have a huge diversification of bacteria. Diversification similar to the diversification of animals, plants, and people, nations that live on the earth. Like, think of all the different type of colors of people that exist, all the different type of nations, all the tribes, you know, that exist all over the world. Think of all the animals, all the reptiles, all the mammals, all the birds. Think about all the plants, all the flowers, all the cactuses, all the ferns. There's so many. And based on the diversification of all that life creates a balanced environment.
Mm-hmm.
If I send you into the woods and tell you to kill all of the wolves because they eat deer, what's going to happen is the deer population will explode. They're going to be consuming all the vegetation. That's going to affect the insects. That's going to affect, it's going to throw everything off.
Right.
So in your gut, it's the same thing. You have a huge diversification of families of bacteria. And when the diversification drop, when you start killing off different nations of bacteria and it gets simplified, you have a problem digesting your food now. You have a problem defending your body from any type of issue that might take place. So when you look at Caucasians, they're dominated with a family of bacteria called firmicutes. While they have a small amount of bacteroidetes, while when you look at our people, we have a larger amount of bacteroidetes and privitella, while we have a lower amount of firmicutes. So because we have these two different gut bacterias, that's how we differ in environment. So Caucasians can eat cheese and they could be in the cold. We could be in the tropical jungle and get tore by mosquitoes and not die of malaria. Things like that. You see what I'm saying? So it also pans into the whole vitamin D thing where the Caucasians, they could stand outside 20, 30 minutes and get all the vitamin D they need for the day, while we need to be outside for about an hour and a half because we're a little bit more advanced with our technology, so we need more of a charge. Now, bacteria, archaea, as well as prokaryote, their cell wall does not contain DHA, which is docosahexaenoic acid. It's an omega-3. The reason why that's important is our cells contain that, which allows us to hold light in the cell. Why is it important to hold light? Because if you can't hold light in the cell, it's going to escape. And if all the light escapes, then you have nothing for signaling, you have nothing for nutrients, you have nothing to get all the chemical reactions done properly. So when bacteria are inside of our gut and our gut gets exposed, you spoke earlier about the organ in the gut that, you know, they discovered or finally added to the rest of the organs. It's called the mesentery. The mesentery has a collection of photoreceptors up in there. When your gut is exposed to the sun, like crop tops and scrimmaging, like y'all ever wonder why when you play football and soccer and everything like that, you know, outside, they give you those mesh shirts that are cut, you know, above your chest because, I mean, above your belly button, because the mesh shirt allows sun penetration and then the crop top allows the sun to hit the gut. And you absorb all of that light and that light goes straight into your gut to those bacteria. Now, when you eat the food is nothing but a blueprint of the area that it grew in. The same way you go inside a store and you get a fruit or a vegetable and has a barcode on it. And you could take that fruit and they scan that bad boy and you look at the screen and it says orange, 3 for $1. All your food is a barcode for a sun. And when you consume it and the bacteria get to it, they scan with the light, just like you do in the supermarket. They scan the food and it tells it, this mug is from Costa Rica. Wait, we just got sun from Detroit. Okay, something ain't right here. So now it's confusion. That's what you call circadian mismatch.
You brought this up in the video that we lost, the interview that we lost. You brought this up.
That's right.
So wait, hold on, KT, hold on. This is some weird shit you saying right now, KT. So say everybody goes on vacation, brother. So say, all right, now my girl is half Jamaican.
That's right.
So we in Jamaica. I'm eating some fruit in Jamaica. You gonna tell me my body's gonna be confused by the fruit?
No, because you're in Jamaica, you're getting exposed to the Jamaican sun.
But if I get it imported,
the Jamaican fruit.
But if I get it imported to New York,
it's a difference. But with Black people, it's a little different because it's where the microbiome comes in, because it's related to our mitochondria. That's why it all matters where you come from. So, like, my mother comes from the Caribbean, right? She comes from the Virgin Islands, as well as Antigua. So even though I might not be in that area, my body, my genetics is connected to that area. So it can identify those fruits. And if I'm getting long hours of solar exposure, that's going to help me with those carbohydrates. Because carbohydrates grow in long solar cycles. Bananas don't grow in the wintertime, bro. You know what I'm saying? Mangoes don't grow in the wintertime. Mangoes grow where there's 12 to 14 hours of sunlight. Why does it grow in those hours? Because you need that amount of stimulation in order for you to properly break down and utilize those carbohydrates inherent in that food. So if you're not getting enough sun and you're eating all that stuff and you hidden inside of a cubicle getting beamed by all this light, that's how a person can be vegan, right? Oh man, I know somebody who vegan and they big. I know somebody who vegan and they got diabetes. I know somebody who vegan and they because there's another part to the equation, and it's the solar stimulation. So the bacteria, as I was saying before, got cell walls. They don't have DHA. They're not able to trap light. The light gets secreted. And the light that they emit in the gut is a signaling mechanism to all the other bacteria. They're communicating. Now, this term I'm about to present is a term that was introduced to the community by Inky, and it's called horizontal gene transfer. Horizontal gene transfer is a process where I'm a bacteria, there's another bacteria over there. I have the gene to be able to break something down, that other bacteria doesn't have the gene, and the cell that bacteria is next to needs this particular type of protein or enzyme or whatever to do its work, I can transfer my genetics laterally, just like in football, how they do a lateral pass. That's why it's called horizontal gene. Vertical gene transfer is us having sex and having babies. Lateral or horizontal gene, he could pass it. So you got bacteria in your gut that pass their genes over to other bacteria, and then they take it, incorporate it into them. Now they can start kicking off certain enzymes and proteins.
So is that why they say energy is contagious, KT?
Oh, energy is definitely contagious.
Like,
I would say more, this is how superbugs are created.
KT, because they all on the internet, they say, you know, prosperity is a big thing on the internet now. And they say if who your friends are, and if 4 of your friends are rich, then most likely you're gonna be rich. Or if 4 of your friends are crooks, then most likely you will turn into a crook.
Yeah, like minds, of course. Resonance, most definitely resonance. If you want to become a millionaire, billionaire, somebody successful, you got to surround yourself with successful people.
So some of the bacteria is gonna come on.
Listen, you perform horizontal gene transfer with your life, bro. Like, come on now. Like, you telling me when we with our mate for years on end, we don't start favoring one another? Yeah. We don't start sounding like one another? Yeah, you know what I mean? I got a thing with my wife, I'm gonna put it out there. When she gotta use the bathroom, I'll be happy to use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I might get up and gotta go use the bathroom. Next thing you know, she get up, she gotta go. Because you get entangled. You know what I'm saying? Your atoms get entangled, your vibration, your aura gets entangled, and y'all kind of become like a binary star system where you might not be the same thing, but you're complements of one another. You know, but the bacteria has the ability to share. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, it's like if you got $1 million and this person over there only got $100, you able to give them a bunch of money so that they can use that money and invest, and they could get up like you. This is what the bacteria is doing in the gut. Now, there's a gut-brain axis by way of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve connects your brain to your gut. All right.
They say that's the super highway for the nervous system, right?
That's right. That's right. Parasympathetic nervous system. This is why they say that your gut is your lower brain, because this vagus nerve, you can have bacteria that can pretty much use that highway to get to your brain. So this is how you can eat the wrong foods or be in certain situations that deal with your gut, and your brain gets affected, or vice versa. You have mental issues, and now you got Crohn's disease. Now you got leaky gut. What is leaky gut? Leaky gut and Crohn's deal with situations where your enterocytes, which are cells that make up your intestines, they're tightly packed together. They tight. But what ends up happening is with leaky gut, they open up, and now there's a space. Because there's a space, those bacteria that's supposed to just stay inside of the intestines slip in between that gap, and they get underneath those cells in areas they're not supposed to be, and that causes a whole lot of inflammation. Now, macrophages, they want to get there to try and go after it. If you got a bunch of macrophages chasing bacteria, that's swelling. That's heat. Now you got to bring water. Now you got this whole problem going on. Now, do you know what the space of the gut is called? Like you know, if you can liken the intestine to a tube, do you know what the inside of the tube is called?
What?
The lumen. Like illuminate, like luminous. Mm-hmm. Why would they call a dark space in your gut the lumen? Unless it was an area that processed light.
Damn, brother.
So your microbiome is a photo analyzing hardware system. And what it does is you have something called a leptin receptor in your brain. Okay, it's inside of your hypothalamus. Okay, the leptin receptor is connected to a molecule called leptin. Leptin, I mentioned this before, is your satiation molecule. This is your molecule of satisfaction. This is how you know you've eaten enough, you've gotten all your food. What does eating enough even mean? Eating enough means that you've gotten your electron number up, because everything with us is about electrons. That's what alkalinity is. That's what Sadie said, yo, alkaline, 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 because acidic means you're giving electrons away. That's what people who sick do. They're leaking. They sprung a leak. They have a short in their wires. They're spilling out current. To be alkaline, to be empowered, you want to consume electrons. You want to eat electrons. Leptin is a molecule that deals with satiation. Leptin resistance is an issue where you are not able to be satisfied. So it's like you have a hole in the bottom of a bucket. You keep pouring things in to fill it up, and it keeps leaking back out.
So, KT, that just made me think. So what is it about? Sometimes they say people could eat healthy food, like say, because of the coronavirus. I say, I want to improve my immune system. They say you could eat healthy food. Say I eat 3 apples, some dates, some Brazil nuts. I'm doing everything, but they're saying certain bacteria could steal the nutrients and you don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
What process? Well, what's happening there? Because some people say they eat healthy and don't shit happen to them, and they're like, KT's products is full of shit, or this person's products is full of shit, or their advice is full of shit because I don't feel better. So what's going on with them that they not getting it? What's happening?
Like I said, which is the message that always gets ignored that I put out there. Food only represents 1/3 of your nutritional needs. 2/3 is the sun. If you're not stimulated, like how are you gonna cook a meal if you don't turn on the flame? You got all the ingredients. You got your olive oil, you got your thyme, you got your cumin, you got, I don't know, your beans, you know what I'm saying? You got the pot, you got the spoon, you got everything you need. But you ain't turned on the fire. How you gonna cook your dish? I mean, what you talking about, Brother Rich? I went to KT, I got my cumin. I went to da-da-da-da, I got my rice. I got my beans over here. I got my olive oil over here. I went and got my pot from old boy. I got my stove. I got everything. I put everything in the pot. I'm mixing it up. Why it ain't cooked, Rich? Why it ain't cooked? Because none of that shit matter if you don't turn on the fire. So people are not getting sun. We're inside right now. I'm cooking under a light. I'm in front of a screen. You know, it's 11 o'clock. I'm supposed to be in bed sleeping because 10 o'clock is when melatonin production spikes. And melatonin is everything to do with your immune system as well. That's why blue light and all of the frequencies become a problem. Because when your melanopsin protein in your eyes and that's in your skin gets affected, now your melatonin production gets affected. If you're not producing melatonin, you're not going to sleep through the night. And you're not going to be able to use that melatonin in order to ignite certain aspects of your immune system to work and be on point. So then when I get up in the morning, I'm not rested. I'm not rejuvenated. It's almost like I stayed up all night and worked a double shift. And now I have to get up and literally go work a double shift again. Where's my state of mind going to be at? I'm going to be irritable. I'm not even going to be hungry. And if I eat when I'm angry, I'm going to be in a whole nother state. Everything goes back to the sun. There is no reason why these people of antiquity would build giant structures with the sun the size of freaking spaceships reaching down, feeding us onks. I don't care if you go to Vishnu. I don't care if you go to the Maya, the Olmec, the Shaka Zulu. I don't care where you go. Every single tribe on this planet paid homage to the sun because they understood the importance of it. Once again, I'll give you another example. You got the best soil in the world. You got the best heirloom seeds. You got super structured water. Plant all that. Get it all out there. If the sun don't come up, you ain't getting no growth. Because you are a photovoltaic being.
Woo!
Photovoltaic being. Our skin is a solar cell that has to be exposed. The more of it that's exposed, the more it gets stimulated, the more healing you get. That sun starts hitting that. Why you think we got a navel right there? That's like a bullseye telling you, yo, put that in the sun. Show that to the sun. That sun is going to penetrate through it. If you get a near infrared bulb, you want to get 810 nanometers because that's the frequency that penetrates deeply. It's going to get into your tissue. Why do you want infrared to get deep inside your tissue? Because your mitochondria, which is also a bacteria that you stole a long time ago, inside this electron transport chain on cytochrome 4, cytochrome oxidase, got 4 chromophores. 2 of them is heme, which is iron. The other 2 is copper. And what happens when you have iron and copper chromophores inside of this enzyme? Infrared hits it, and what starts to happen? The ATP synthase enzyme starts to spin. You start making ATP. The cytochrome oxidase starts producing water. A lot of people don't even realize that we create water. We're actually water generators. We're clouds. Our mitochondria makes water all day long. And you can make water just stimulating yourself with infrared light. The sun is 42% infrared light, steadily hitting us with everything we need. So the microbiome, right, is something that we get as a gift from our mother. When we're birthed through the birth canal, we're enveloped in her, come out her vagina. Her vagina kind of saran wraps our entire body with bacteria.
So that's
the
why
father catches us, huh?
That's why you kept stressing the probiotics to me.
Well, this is the difference between prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics is the foods that are fed to existing bacteria to encourage diversification and the nationhood of bacteria inside your gut.
Give me an example. A prebiotic. Give me an example.
Baobab powder.
That's prebiotic.
That's a prebiotic. Sea moss is a prebiotic. Baobab powder is a prebiotic. Psyllium husk is a prebiotic. Gum acacia is a prebiotic. All of those mechanisms.
Now, probiotic.
Probiotic would be like kimchi, kombucha, yogurt, kefir. These are dairy. Most of these are dairy items, curdled, that are inundated with bacteria, live cultures of bacteria, lactobacillus, right? So what happens is you eat these dairy or whatever, the kombucha, the kefir, the kimchi, and what happens is the bacteria is in those items. These fermented foods, shoot, pickles, the sauerkraut, you know? When you eat them, the bacteria is already in the food. So then when you eat it and it goes in your gut, what you're doing is you're bringing in a colony of pilgrims to a new world to settle on the coast where indigenous people have already been living for millions of years. So the pilgrims come up on the coast and they like, yo, we about to settle this in the name of the queen. We about to grow some stuff. Yo, we got some Indians over here. Yo, y'all gonna have to like move out the way. We up in this piece now. The indigenous people is like, bruh, like we been here. Like, nah, y'all ain't just about to come up here and just strong on. And the same shit that happened in our history is now happening in our gut.
Woo! As within, so without.
That's right, inner space.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? And
Man.
there's raping and pillaging going on. There's new strands of DNA, everything. You got mixed mulattoes and all types getting created now.
Shit.
So I've never been anybody that promotes probiotic. I'm not a probiotic person. People want to push yogurt. People want to push kefir and kombucha and all. They had that because you already have everything you need in your gut. You just have to feed them properly and you have to stimulate them properly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you feed them what they need, they will diversify, they will grow, they will develop. All right, because you just like you have a human genome and you have a nuclear genome, which everybody knows that's based on your cell and your nucleus. That's the nuclear genome. Then you have your mitochondrial genome, which is based on your mitochondria. But you also have a microbiome or a bacterial genome, which is, imagine your DNA deconstructed. Like it's not no one strand in all of your cells. It's a strand spread about over billions of bacteria throughout your body, which means they can regenerate, they can grow, they can develop, they can keep going. You just have to give them what they need in order for that to happen. And that's what the prebiotics are for. That's why Baobab is everything. Look, I just did a presentation on hydroxychloroquine, which is the drug that Trump said, oh, it's going to be a game changer for coronavirus. And I talked about the 500-year history of quinine and that it's the sole herb that allowed Europeans to colonize the world.
Mm.
It's the main herb that did that. Now, gin and tonic, which is a very popular drink amongst Europeans, is a mixture of quinine, or tonic water rather, with gin. Gin is flavored with juniper berries, and you'll find a lot of gin flavored with baobab. Winston Churchill said gin and tonic has healed more Englishmen than all the doctors in history. I'm going to give you an example right now, Rich, about what I'm talking about light. Mm-hmm. When you eat plants, when you eat these herbs, when you eat these natural substances, they contain inside molecules called polyphenols. Poly means many. Phene, Phene, means to illuminate. These aromatic rings, these phenols, can trap light. They can absorb light and they can emit light, and they use it as a signal. So this right here is tonic water. Okay? Tonic water.
Okay.
This is a carbonated beverage that contains quinine in here. This is the same substance that is the basis of the drug that they're pushing right now to cure COVID-19. This is why Caucasians was able to take over the world, was because of the substance in this water right here. Because when they tried to penetrate tropical regions, they got burnt by the UV, they got murked by the mosquitoes, and every other issue that went on in them jungles. But it wasn't until they found this herb was they able to penetrate the jungles and the rainforests and the swamps to take control of the land. Now, an aromatic ring or a phenol has the ability to absorb light, hold light, and then fluoresce a light in response to it. So for instance, the visible spectrum goes from like 700 nanometers to like 300 nanometers. That's infrared to ultraviolet. These aromatic rings absorb ultraviolet light, and what happens is that ultraviolet light excites the electrons that make it up, which causes the electrons in this excited state to jump to an excited state, to a higher state. Now, after it jumps to that state, it drops back down. When it drops back down to its ground state, it emits light. I'm going to show you that I'm going to hit this light with UV. You can see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a UV flashlight right there. See that purple, right? You can see it, right, Rich?
Yes.
When I hit this water, this quinine is going to turn blue. Look at that. You see that?
Yeah.
It's blue because it's fluorescing. All of the molecules of the quinine in here, those aromatic rings, are absorbing and soaking up that UV light, getting excited, and as it drops back down to its ground state, it is releasing blue light about 450 nanometers as a result of that. This is what Caucasians were putting in their body to penetrate high UV areas.
Mm.
And now they're pushing that as the main drug to get rid of COVID-19.
Family, let's take a break. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, show support. Where else you gonna get this information? Let KT take a water break, man. 11:20 at night on a Tuesday. Do y'all see what this brother's bringing to the channel? I mean, I'm happy, man. I mean, this is Black Magic 363. Shout out to all the supporters, all the Patreons. Everybody that's participating in the fast. Man, I mean, KT, man, that was amazing, man. That was amazing.
Y'all could all do that experiment yourself at home. The only thing y'all gotta do is get a bottle of tonic water from the supermarket and get a UV light. You could get a UV lamp at the pet store for like lizards and stuff, or you could like go on Amazon and actually get like a flashlight type like this, you know?
So KT, they pretty much don't want anybody, you think, oh man, they don't want anybody else going in outside into the sun until everybody starts taking that hydra chlor or whatever you're talking about?
No. My thing is, they're not even stopping anybody from going in the sun, Rich. The lockdown that they have instituted, if people look it up and look up the particulars of what the policy or the policies are for what the lockdown is in your area, it does not include outside. You'll see the list. They encourage ride your bike, walk your dog, go to the park. You can do all that stuff. People are just assuming that they have to stay indoors in their home with their doors locked, their blinds down, binging on Netflix all day, or going on Instagram Live for 20 hours straight or something like that. And what's going to happen is that extreme lack of sunshine and the switch from a natural form of light to an alien form of light is going to be the thing that compromises the immune system, so that that broken down immune system will allow anything to affect you.
You know, KT, I had some issues a couple of years ago when I really started getting heavy with the YouTube. I would sleep a lot during the daytime. I would work at night. I barely got any sun, and I was constantly sitting at my desk. Shout out to Naya Mani for the donation on Cash App. And I would just sit at my desk constantly doing work on the computer, and I started to have like back pain or something like that, lower back pain. Mm-hmm. And I went to the doctor to see what was going on. They told me I was vitamin D deficient. I think I brought this up to you, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago. In my mind, I'm like, what the fuck does the sun got to do with my back hurting? Like, this is my back, nigga. Like, I'm not, what the sun got to do with that? But our lifestyle, because we're always on the computer and we're always sitting down, we don't get out as much as we're supposed to. So I definitely understand what you're talking about, my brother.
Oh, yeah, we definitely vitamin D deficient. And just to give you an understanding that a lot of Black people are actually misdiagnosed with vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah.
And let me explain how they do that. So Caucasians, they can go outside for shorter periods of times and hit their vitamin D number, right? We have to go outside and we have to stay out longer. Now, what does vitamin D assist with? It assists with the absorption and the movement and the regulation of calcium inside the body. Calcium is a mineral, pretty much a metallic mineral, that is our current. It's kind of like an electrical particle that we utilize in order to make things work, such as contracting muscles and signaling and things like that. Well, it's difficult to say that somebody of color is vitamin D deficient, because what Western medicine does not take into account is the fact that we have denser bones. We got denser bones. So what that means is we got more calcium. We have a greater reserve of calcium than a Caucasian has. So a Caucasian needs to get that vitamin D because they have a lessened amount of calcium to work with, meaning that the two cells that you have on your bone, osteoclast, osteoblast. Osteoclast breaks bone down, releases the broken bone with your ions into the blood, while osteoblast takes those ions and builds up new bone. Their ratio and balance with that is real tight because they have bones that are less dense. Because we have greater density and more mass with our bones, that means we got a bigger bank. Our bank account is more. While they might have $1 million in the bank, we got a quadrillion in the bank. So we got more to work with. And because we got more to work with, they don't take that into account. So they automatically say vitamin D deficiency, you know? So the reason why people that don't get enough sun and people that have a very acidic lifestyle will have osteoporosis or bone issues is because when the osteoclast breaks your bones down and releases those ions into the bloodstream, that's to alkalize the blood. Now, people are argue and say, the blood doesn't drop too low. If it drops too low, you'll die. It can't raise too high, I'll die. Exactly my point. It never does because your body has a system that releases the calcium to keep that shit steady and in that narrow window. But what you're not taking in consideration is because of all the acidity, how much calcium is it dissolving to release in the blood to keep it steady? And as it's dissolving all of that bone at a greater rate, then bone is getting put back into, calcium is getting put back into, meaning, let's think about the bank. If you're steadily spending the money quicker than you're making the money to put back in your account, eventually you're not going to have quadrillions of dollars no more. You're probably going to have a milli just like them. Maybe you'll be a thousandaire. Maybe you'll have a solid buck. And then you trip on a curb and you break your hip. You know what I'm saying? It all ties back to the whole acid and the alkaline situation. It goes back to that.
Okay, KT. So once again, thanks for everybody in the chat, KT. We almost got about 1,500 people. I appreciate y'all being with us.
Oh, that's what's up.
On this Tuesday night, man. Like I said, once again, thank you to everybody who participated in the fast. It was absolutely amazing, life-changing for myself and my family, and very it helped me out with my confidence with everything going on. It made me feel good. It made me feel secure. It made me, KT Sea-Moss is the shit, man. I don't know if it's sold out or not. KT Sea-Moss is the shit, man. After this show, I'm going to go drink some tea. I drink it twice a day. The still water, like you said, I got it in the morning and the night. I don't have
what water did Valentine suggest?
The still. Real quick, I'm on a side note. Now, you know what? I'm not going to let them throw me off my. Anyway, so let me just stick to my point. The Sea-Moss made me stop having certain cravings. What I want to talk to you about is that a lot of people, when they try to diet, the voices in their head, the cravings, it just get to be too much, KT. You going fast. You might feel like you're about to die, KT, if you fast for 2 days. Some people say the parasites start talking to you. people are used to it, and people might not understand. They say, well, how does a parasite or bacteria talk to me? If somebody talks to you, you're used to the language. Like they say, well, God talked to me. They want an entity to talk to them in a specific language. So how does the bacteria relate what they have to say to, in your mind? You start thinking about a burger at 2 a.m. You thinking about fries. You thinking about a shake. You thinking about all this crazy shit that you wasn't thinking about before. How does the bacteria make you think about these things?
All right. So when you sit down and you watch watching TV, right? Let's say we watching a Sabi video on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
When you turn on the TV, Sabi's on the screen talking to you, right?
Yeah.
Is he in the TV?
No.
You sure? Because he sure is on that TV. You sure he ain't in there somewhere in the background? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, what it is it's electromagnetic signals that come into the television, and they hit the pixels, and there's all these little color pixels that light up, and your body interprets those pixels and puts it back together. Now you see an image, and that image you recognize, and now you can look at the movement of that image, and now you can, that's Sabi. So bacteria secrete chemicals. Your nerve is chemicals. You have neurotransmitters. You got dopamine, you got adrenaline, you got beta endorphins. You know what I'm saying? You got lactic acid, you got sulfuric acid, you got all these chemicals that get secreted and passed around. So it's not that the bacteria is literally at the bar like, yo, you get yourself a burger, son. You know what I mean? It ain't that. It's the fact that the pathogenic bacteria knows that it will thrive in a certain environment, and that environment is based on chemicals that are secreted. So what happens is that bacteria then talks to your nerves through chemicals and through light, right? Manipulating you, telling you, look, these are the chemicals I need. That signal rearranges that recipe of chemicals that translate into a Whopper.
Woo! Shit. Hold on, KT. No, I need a thorough breakdown. So, all right, so the chemicals is going on in your gut, right?
Yes. The gut to the brain, vagus nerve.
I was just about to say, so it goes up to your brain through the vagus nerve.
Yes.
Your brain takes that, so just like the television, it takes the electromagnetic signals and it pixelates it into like a image in your mind of a Whopper or some shit like that.
That's right. Because remember, think about dopamine. Dopamine is a reward molecule. And with having dopamine, it creates motivation, because reward is never anything that you appreciate unless you work for it. If you know you cheated on a test and you got 100, and then the principal and the mayor come out and all that type, you gonna feel like shit, because you know you did not work hard to deserve that grade. So people that get gold medals and people that get championship rings and trophies, right? The reason why they cry, you ever see these basketball players after these finals, bro? They crying. Why? Because of the dopamine being released based on the motivation to do the work so that they can receive the reward. Now, what's the reward with a Whopper? It's an experience through your taste buds. You tasting the salt, you tasting the sweet, the bread, you know what I'm saying? The way the meat got charbroiled, you know, you smelling it, you going through this whole thing in your mind. It's almost like you might not have made love to your woman in a little bit, and the time's coming up where and you imagine you seeing her and her panties or her thong and everything, and you just getting worked up all in your mind. So that's what's going on. It's a manipulation of all of your neurotransmitters. You see what I'm saying? Getting you to be addicted to something, the same way you can get addicted to heroin, the same way you could get addicted to cocaine. Except once you get this thing, just like cocaine, you always chasing that first high. It never satisfies you. And only thing you've done is you fed those bacteria that was like, yo, I needed this.
They like, I got you again, nigga.
They like, I got you. And look, lots of times people feel like crap afterwards. They
right
like,
after.
man, I shouldn't have ate that burger.
It happened to
Why?
me. It happened to me endless times, man.
Because they detach from the nerves at that point. They stop pumping you up.
Woo,
They stop
shit.
juicing. They like, I got it.
Them motherfuckers use me, man.
You know how men say a whole lot of things to women just to get them drawers.
Then
And
once
the minute
they
they
get it,
bust one, they out.
same thing.
Yes.
Oh, these motherfuckers done. Oh my God.
Yes. Yes.
Yo, so KT, check it out. Check it out. So now this is some interesting shit here. Great conversation, my brother. What I want to ask you is the same way these parasites could trick you into getting some food that's that will benefit it. Can they trick you into having sex with a toxic person so they can feed off the bacteria of that toxic person?
Oh, most definitely.
So that's why sometimes you fuck somebody and you like, after you fuck them, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't
I
have.
should have never done that.
I should have never. Damn. Oh man, these are some tricky little bastards, KT.
Yes.
Oh,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you started this whole conversation with the whole inner space thing. That's why you got to take more control of what goes on with inside you, where you're not just reactionary. You don't want to just be a reactor. Phil Valentine always talked about, we judge too much. We react too much. We're supposed to be observers. If you spent that same energy observing that woman, or that woman observing that man, then you'll see things about them, mannerisms, things they're saying, maybe their smell, their scent, how they walk, talk. They'll get the vibe and they'll be like, nah, I'm good. But see, if you're reactionary, you can get caught up.
right.
You know, and then, you know, like minds too, you attract what's like to you. So there's probably a toxic part of you that has an affinity for the toxic part of her. And then two toxic people come together. But once that toxicity does what it has to do and you separate yourself from it, you like, man, I shouldn't have. Damn, I got to get this up out of me.
KT, I was going to save questions for a little later, but I see somebody wrote, I just took a look at the chat and I want to get your response to this. Somebody wrote, parasites can't trick the individual, your mind can. So respond to that real quick, because this is where a lot of people get fooled into the gut and the mind connection. So could you respond just real quick, KT?
What did they say exactly now?
Parasites can't fool the person, only your mind can fool you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it
They don't see
manipulates
the
your mind.
connection.
It manipulates your mind, and you
Right.
remember, we a robot, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we're a robot. You know, the mind, the heart, the spirit, the soul. These are the things, the different bodies, the causal bodies, like how you were speaking, the emotional body, the physical body, the spiritual body. These are the things that animate it. Okay, so my thing is, if you're toxic already, you have already compromised a part of yourself. So it's you. It ain't the bacteria ain't outside of you, bro. So for the person who's saying that, like, what are you talking about? The bacteria is you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's connecting to your mind state, which in connecting with your mind state is going to influence your actions. Now, there's this thing called mind over matter, which means, yeah, if you are not being reactionary and you're being more observant and you're taking your time and reflecting, you could feel the tug of war that's going on. And you could make the conscious decision, I don't need that Whopper. That's why that's our main superpower. We don't need to shoot lasers through our eyes and fly and walk through walls. We got will.
Yeah.
We got choice. We could say yes, we could say no. But sometimes that yes, we think we really want that thing. But we have to take more time, introspect, and be able to be like, you know what? I want that Whopper. It's like 2:00 right now. It's too late. I got to get up. Let me just go to sleep. And you'll get up in the morning. You ain't going to be thinking about no Whopper. You ain't going to be hungry. It's going to be a brand new day. You start over now, you know? But these cravings come from, like I said, leptin resistance. I'm giving y'all the chemical keys, bro. You got your eyes, you got your retina, you have your suprachiasmatic nucleus behind them. That's your biological clock. Hypothalamus, arcuate nucleus, inside of arcuate nucleus, leptin receptor. Leptin represents satiation and satisfaction. Blue light destroys all that shit. Which means if you don't know what satisfaction is, then you're gonna always looking for something to scratch your itch. Anything, a Whopper, some ice cream, a woman, a drug, bullying somebody, vampiring somebody's energy, being petty, trolling. All of these things are mechanisms to be able to try and fulfill this goddamn void because you got a hole in your pocket called leptin resistance. And you got to fix that by fixing your life. See, everybody's asking the wrong questions, bro. People want to pump up and act like they know certain things. And I'm like, no, you don't, because I'm not hearing the questions yet. The question is about light. This is a light situation. We light bodies. Ain't that what we say?
Yes,
Do we say we bodies? Do we say we whopper bodies? Do we say we bacteria bodies? Do we say we food bodies? No, we don't say any of that. We say we light bodies. We say we saw people. We say we children of the sun. These are the words we use. Yet we do not pay attention to the fact that all of those statements have everything to do with photovoltaics and the fact that light influences all. Until we get down to the Planck length, then it's all about darkness. But that's another conversation.
Man, listen, man, KT, this has been an amazing show tonight, man. This has been an amazing show, family.
So real quick, antibiotics.
Yeah.
I wrote a couple little things down so I don't forget these.
Okay.
This is the problem with antibiotics. What does antibiotics do? They destroy the microbiome. That's what they do. And that's why people who take antibiotics always have bad reactions and their immune system goes to shit because they pretty much are sending in like the Expendables, you know, with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and all of them. They send in this big pack of old school renegade 1990 commandos with 1,000 machine guns and Gatling guns and bombs and grenades and going straight for the microbiome and killing all these bacteria off, creating a less diversified microbiome. This is what antibiotics do. You don't need antibiotics, okay? You don't need that. You got to let that shit go. Now, with the whole light thing, what the light does, what the fasting does, is it stimulates autophagy, okay? Autophagy is, once again, they go that phagy word again, like with macrophage, bacteriophage. Phage deals with phagocytosis. It deals with eating. So autophagy or autophagy deals with self-eating. Self-eating what? Self-eating all of the trash, okay? Because if you are steadily working every day of the year, double time, overtime, picking the kids up from school, going to the plays and going to the games and support and you never get time for yourself. You got this little project that you're trying to do in your garage, you never get to it. It just sits there 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Autophagy is a situation where when you're fasting or with the proper stimulations of light, the body then is able to go through and start kind of like polishing off all the corners everywhere, taking care of all the little things that has been getting ignored and has been piling up. Stored toxins in the tissues, compromised plasma, compromised red blood cells, mutations in the DNA, overgrowth of candida, all of this stuff that's getting out of control because there's been more pressing issues that you've been focused on, like fight or flight, like being goddamn scared or getting beamed and getting shot at or getting snapped on and not getting no sleep. All of these things prevent you from being able to perform something like autophagy. All right. So what happens when melatonin ends up getting sacrificed, ends up getting compromised, it deals with messing with that whole cycle of autophagy and apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. Because when a cell has been compromised and there's nothing left to do with it, you'll blow it up and it turns into a bunch of vesicles that contain little parts, and then your body can take up those parts and recycle them, and whatever's waste can go through the urine or go through the feces. So autophagy, apoptosis, melanopsin, melatonin, melanin. These are all terms y'all need to get familiar with. When you look at them, see, I love looking at molecular structures because design denotes function. Mm-hmm. So if you look at molecular structures, you'll start to see commonalities amongst them, such as the benzene ring, the aromatic ring with the double bonds in it. Once you see that, you know that that thing has everything to do with light, because that's what that mechanism is there for. It's there to trap light inside of it. And then it takes that light, that high frequency light, that energy, and it's able to now dish out whatever frequencies are necessary for the body. Because ultraviolet light is a higher frequency, even though it's a smaller number, 300 nanometers. The reason why it's a smaller number is because the frequency is smaller. Smaller means more tightly packed. More tightly packed means more information stored. While a radio wave is bigger and there's less information stored on there. So if I take that high frequency that has all that storage on it, and I'm able to stretch it out, manipulate it, slice it up, now I can pull yellow out and green out and blue out and orange out and red out. And I can use those colors to do things with them. This is why, you know, it's so important that we get our sun, that we get our visible spectrum. I can't stress it enough. I mean, people talk about Jesus in the Bible. That whole thing is about the sun, bro. The son of God. Come on now. Candles and lights and stars. You know what I'm saying? You go into Kemet, it's all about sun. Like, we have to get back to it. Matter of fact, in Kemet, most of the deities got a sun sitting on their head. Like, how in your face can you be, bro? They got that shit sitting on there like a baseball cap. Like, bro. Like, I know y'all looking at me and y'all think I'm dope, but look what I got on my crown, though. This is what's dope to me. The head cat name is Ra. Sun symbol, solar. Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is, man. Wow.
So yeah, immune system has everything to do with solar stimulation, vitamin D, breath, breathing. You know, everybody around here wearing masks. I'm like, bro, mask ain't gonna protect you from 5G. Okay? It's just not. And what a mask is gonna do by covering your nose and your mouth like this is I can't breathe. So I already suffering from hypoxia.
Shit.
Now I got a mask on. Future said, Big Pharma, mask off. Molly Percocet. He said, mask off. Go watch that video again and see that we are not in the same state as that video with Future right now. He said, take the mask off. Because when you got it on like this, look, you can't breathe. You are not going to inhale the amount of necessary oxygen you need to fill them lungs. You are not going to give your mitochondria the oxygen it needs in order to make the water, in order to make the ATP. Oxygen is also a combustor. You cannot make fire without oxygen present. So all the combustion that takes place within inside the cell to release all that energy, How you gonna do it with no oxygen? So we're dealing with a state of induced hypoxia, which is suffocation. You know, you see movies where a dude assassinated a cat, he throw a plastic bag on his head. And that's what's going on.
Mm.
So you got to get more oxygen in your life.
KT, first I want to thank the individuals who have donated to the Cash App, Autumn, Boss, Kevin, Huma. It means a lot for me to do a broadcast like this and invite KT and have a sophisticated conversation, sophisticated but fun and down to earth and something that everybody, you know, could just vibe to, but we're getting educated at the same time. This is what life and learning is all about. So I definitely want to thank KT for coming on here. I want to make sure everybody support this gentleman's website. Give him your website, KT.
KTtheArchDegree.net, KTtheArchDegree.net. The Cash App is $KAMANI, capital letter T, Kamani T. So yeah, right now we got a few items on the site because, like I said, when I get to a certain point, I got to focus on getting orders out. I shut certain things down so that I can focus on getting things out. So you're going to see C3 on there. You're going to see Salvation on there. I'm about to actually introduce, I think it's 5 new products are about to drop real soon. So as soon as I get everybody's orders out, get caught up with that, I'm going to drop those. So stay tuned to the site for that.
One last question, KT. You talked about the sun so much during this interview.
Yeah.
So we're light beings.
Yes.
Now, when we think about the sun, a lot of people think about a fiery ball. They think about fire. They think about heat. And he talked about how beneficial the sun is to us. Mm-hmm. What about, and you talked about the artificial light that we have in our house. What about candles? Like, what if I have like a bunch of candles in my home? How do candles impact myself, my melanin, my skin, my cells, my psyche, all of that? Okay,
very good question. So when the sun first comes up, when you see the sun transversing through the sky, it changes its color temperature.
Yes.
When you look at your screen on your phone and on the computers, there's a certain color temperature. All right, a color that has a temperature to it. So the sun, when it first comes up, I think is like 1800 Kelvin. By the time it gets to like 2 p.m. at its brightest, it's like 52 or 5500 Kelvin, and it keeps increasing until it sets. Your phones be like 7500 Kelvin, like 8000 Kelvin. Like that shit is like super, super strong.
Wow.
LED lights also have a very strong color temperature, and they have a blue spike, meaning that not only is it an artificial blue light, but it's like a pulse of blue light smacking you like this, right? Then your computer also has flicker where it's strobing. If you don't believe me, then what I want you to do is look at any movie that has the camera on the TV screen in the film, and you'll notice that that the screen is strobing and flickering, and you don't even notice that when you're looking at your screen because the camera's picking it up. That's that flicker effect, and that affects you too. Candles and incandescent bulbs are like 2500 Kelvin. So it's similar to the sun, like mid-morning. So it's mainly infrared. Think about it. A candle is warming light. You know what I mean? You feel it. And the spiritual ramifications of candles is so in-depth that I would never deter anybody from not using a candle. You know what I'm saying? So at nighttime, when you do need light around to read a book or to do work, shoot, if you can get a bunch of candles instead of having a light bulb, that would do so much more for you. So much more for you. Just blow them things out when it's time to go to bed. You know what I mean? Very warming, very stimulating, very healing. It emits infrared. It's a natural light. It's a natural source. It's fire.
Man. Once again,
brother, for everything. Oh yeah. I keep my candles burning.
I'm about to invest in some more candles, actually.
I'll get some because I'm telling you, especially with the shit going on right now, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Y'all need to have candles in y'all crib. You know what I mean? Get some white candles, tea lights, you know, all that, because you need to have some fire and some flame burning. You know what I mean? And then remember, a candle represents you. I'm going to say that again. The candle represents you. That wax is your physical body. As you go through your body, as you go through your life, rather, your body burns away. You start to dissolve, just like the candle does. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't disappear. You smell the candle. When you blow a candle, like if somebody blows a candle out in a room 3 rooms away from me, I'll walk in that room and be like, yo, somebody just blew a candle out? Like, you could smell the wax in the air. You know what I'm saying? So it represents that timeline. It represents your soul as it continues to go down that wick all the way down to the bottom of that candle until it's done. You know, as it's surrounded by that glass. You know, candles are everything, man. You know, and all the colors have a different energy to them. They represent something in particular. You know, you got the 7-day candles, you got the big boys, you know, you got the tea lights, you got the slender ones that you could put, you know, inside the big candle holders. All of them mean something. You know, when you look at occultism, like them cats got candles burning, bro. Yeah, candles are very, very important, and they're good for you. You know, another reason why all of this artificial light is bad is that if we do go out at nighttime, we can't see the sky no more. Like seeing the stars are very important too.
I'm glad you brought that up. Why?
Because the same way you have neural connections in your brain and masses of neurons called ganglia, the constellations are the same.
Exactly.
You're looking at celestial neural connections and celestial neural ganglia. So as you look at those stars twinkling and hitting, because they move, they vibrate. Some are yellow, some are blue, some are white. They're triggering and aligning things in your brain, waking you up, popping parts of your brain, getting you good. You take that, then you go to sleep. Man, who knows where you gonna go?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a tune-up. You know, you driving your car too long, every need your oil change, you gotta lift the hood, they gotta change the belts and the hoses and all that. That's what looking up at the stars does to you. It gets you all your nerves, all those little with the acupuncture, the meridian points, all of them little ganglia, them little important points is hitting them, pop, 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 getting them things back together. And then don't see a shooting star. I feel it. You've seen a shooting star before, right, Rich?
Of course, yeah.
What you feel like when you see that?
It's like, oh my God, euphoria.
Yes, it's really no words. It just washes all over you, and you just be like, I'm not alone in this bitch. Like, there's something bigger going on. You feel it. It feels like it did something to you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's just you catching one of the stars move, and I'm talking about if you're not looking in that direction, you miss it. You don't have no time to tap somebody's shoulder and be like, look.
You can't. Yeah.
By the time it's gone. It's such a fleeting moment, but so impactful.
So do you think we're actually looking at, they say as above, so below. Some people say that shit is literal. Do you think we're literally looking at the inside of our brain when we're looking at the sky?
Well, when you study Kemet and they talk about the underworld, you know what they talking about, right?
With the inside?
They talking about the quantum realm, the microscopic realm.
Yeah.
So
what's that movie? What's the movie?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, yeah.
Ant-Man. Yeah. That in Kemet, that's the underworld.
That's the underworld.
That's what they're talking about.
Right.
So there's a macroscopic world as well that's above us that follows the same rules and the same laws. So shoot, when you go into Big Black Beyond, that's Mama. That is the infinite soil that you can plant anything in and grow whatever you want out of it. Infinite possibilities. How do you know that? Because when you look up in the sky, motherfucker, you looking at shit going on forever. Can you count the star? How long gonna take you to count every star in the sky, Rich? If you was at the equator where there was no smog and you could see the Milky Way clear, could you count all the stars in your lifetime?
Man.
You probably would have to start over about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're gonna be 85 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows the infinite possibilities, because that's what this thing is all about. It's like life is like a deck of cards. See, when you got a deck of cards, when you shuffle in that deck, that's quantum mechanics. That's the infinite probabilities. That's something being everything at one time. The waveform collapses when you flip that card and you see an ace, or when you dish the card out to another person. That's the collapse of the waveform. That's the observation. That's when a wave becomes a particle.
Mm.
So if people want to get an understanding, wave particle, think about cards when you shuffle in. Any card. It could be any card at that time. But it's not until you pull a card out, bow, is it something real.
Yo, you know what's crazy, KT? I love conversation. I love things that stretch my imagination, and that's why I'm so happy I'm having this workshop. But so now this concept of as above, so below is just like, it's endless. This whole fractal concept, fractal geometry and as above, so below. So we got the bacteria in us that when we give it certain light, we have a body and we got over 100 trillion bacteria inside of us. When we feed it certain light, it behaves a certain way. So we got the universe. Yes. So we're the bacteria in the universe. And when the universe feeds us certain light, when it's going through its procession of the equinoxes, we behave a certain way. So we got the dark age.
We behave a certain way to what? To the earth.
To the earth. Shit.
You see what I'm saying?
Man.
So then the earth can do the things it needs to do.
Right.
But if we too busy being goddamn cancerous and trying to convince the earth to eat a fucking Whopper at 2 a.m,
man,
you know what I mean? You're gonna get coronaviruses all over the goddamn place, bro.
Man, this is just some good conversation, man. Once again, family, we about to get out of here. Can't be on here all night long. We've been on here for an hour and a half, man. I appreciate y'all for staying with us. And I appreciate KT for I just told the brother about this show today, late this afternoon. So I appreciate the brother for being able to come on at such late notice. But this is Brother Rich, UGR, Black Magic 360. Oh, everybody, check out that meditation on visual album.
Oh, yes, bro. Yeah, bro. Somebody's about to tap you on the shoulder. You about to do a movie or something, man. That's a journey, right? Listen, let me tell y'all something. If y'all ain't did yourself the justice of listening to this man, he could be doing anything right now. He could be trying to freestyle. He could be doing heavy metal. He could be trying to do some straight trash. This man is doing a meditation album. So, and the visuals, like how you had the mama at the end with the baby playing. Come on.
Yeah. Did you notice in the last video, the sun came from the cosmos?
Yes.
He came down to earth through the cosmos.
Bro, you fooled out. You fooled out with the visual meditation album. Y'all need something to do. Like, that's something to do. Light a candle, put that thing on, listen. Just don't think about nothing. Don't react on it. Don't comment on it. Just observe those images and listen and see where it takes you. See where it takes you. Because, yeah, man, that's just solid, bro.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
That came from a pure place. And I have extreme gratitude that you sharing that, with the community, because you could be sharing anything, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's something that will assist people right now. When you feeling all this fear and this corona and Trump and government and all, turn that shit on. Turn that on.
Yeah. And music changes your molecular structure, right?
We about to be doing the Ra / Sonocytology is really what the term would be called. Sonocytology is the musical influence on the cellular structure. Cells play jazz, Rich.
Bro, man, shit.
Cells play jazz, bro.
Jazz. I'm gonna write that on. That's a KT quote. Nigga says cells play jazz.
That's right.
Bro, did you hear this, man? He said our cells. Wow, bro.
Cells play jazz. And the reason why light is so important is because think about it. Light has a speed, 186,000 miles per second, right? That's quantified. It's a speed, meaning that if you go 187,000 miles per second, you're going superluminal. You're going past that. So there's a limitation to light. Well, light has a speed. Anything that has a speed to it has to have some type of momentum or something with it. When light hits us, the reason why we exist is because we slow light down to the point that matter is made. If you look back at E equal MC squared, you can read that equation both ways. Einstein, I don't know if he knew he was saying this, but what he was trying to say is that light and mass are the same thing. It's just that mass is light when it slows down. So when light hits us, our waters in our body, light slows down and it hits the water. What happens when you hit water, Rich? If you slap some water, what's created? A wave.
Yeah.
A wave. And a wave is going to be a sound. So if light hits it this way and hits it that way, and is this frequency and that frequency and this color, you got an A pitch, you got A, you got G, you got C, you got D. Next thing you know, you got like shit playing now.
Wow.
So your cells is receiving music. The same way when we receive music, shit, I hear some Tupac, I'm ready to get to it. I hear some Mary J. Blige, I'm ready to reflect. You know what I'm saying? I hear Kendrick Lamar, shoot, I'm ready to man, I'm about to create. You listen to some classical, you listen to some John Coltrane, you listen to these things, they're going to influence you because your cells is all about vibration, all about music. So we're going to get into that later.
Yeah, we got some amazing shows coming up, y'all. Are we going to do the Rod show?
Yeah.
That's next week or?
Yeah, I think Rod's is next.
So let's do that next.
Activating system.
We could do that next.
We can tell these people how to manifest.
Right. Indeed. So yeah, KT gonna be back next week, y'all. We're gonna be laying down some powerful shows coming up. I mean, so y'all gonna want to tune in. The brother be back next week. Make sure y'all hit up the brother's website. Remember, I said the brother CMOS is off the hook. If it's sold out, what do you recommend them doing, brother? Just keep trying?
Oh, yeah. If it's sold out, just check the next day. You can also email me or reach out to me and let me know, KT, it's sold out, I need some CMOS. And if I have to wait a couple days before I put it on, then I'll let you know that. But usually it'll be up either that next day or the day after that. It ain't going to be too long. It'll be back up. C3 is always going to be available. The other items I might have to chill on just because, I got to satisfy everybody's orders. And CMOS is just very important right now as a chelator of radiation because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with radiation poisoning.
What does chelator mean for those what's chelator?
Chelator translates into claw, because what happens when a molecule is a chelator is it forms into this molecular structure that's open like this, and it has one active site here and another active site here. And you have a heavy metal here that represents the radiation. So what happens is the molecule has an affinity towards it, and this binds and that binds, and it's almost like a crab pinching or a lobster pinching, and it pulls it out the cell and into your urine, and then you can get it out of your system. So that's what chelation is. Being able to pull heavy metals and radioactive elements out of your cells and tissues and release it from the body.
Excellent, my brother. Well, that's it for tonight, family. KT, once again, I appreciate it, my brother.
Thanks for having me, bro.
We're going to be back next week, family. Peace.
It is. Peace.